I, female, 29, think my sister, female, 27, is trying to get me to commit insurance fraud, and I don't know what to do. For background, I've been working as a lab tech at the hospital for about 5 years now, and I've been saving money, not perfect, but trying. 2 years ago, I finally saved enough to buy my own car, a 2018 Honda Civic. Nothing fancy, but it's reliable and good on gas, which is important. BC, my commute to the hospital is like 45 minutes each way. My sister Gina has always been, well, irresponsible, is putting it nicely. When we were teenagers, she maxed out my mom's credit card buying clothes online, told mom it was hacked, but then I found the clothes in her closet. In college, she was constantly borrowing money and never paying it back. 3 years ago, she crashed my dad's truck while driving drunk. Thank God she didn't hurt anyone. And just in the past year, she's been fired from like 4 different jobs for various reasons. Always someone else's fault, according to her. But our parents always make excuses for her. It's always, Heather, you need to help your sister out, or she's going through a tough time, or family helps family. I've heard it my whole life. My roommate Kay, female, 30, is constantly telling me I need to stop enabling Gina. But it's hard when my parents are constantly pushing me to be there for her. So last Thursday, not yesterday, the Thursday before, Gina shows up at my apartment unannounced. She tells me she has this amazing job interview in city about 100 miles away on Friday. According to her, this job would change everything and be her fresh start. But surprise, surprise, her car got repossessed last month. She conveniently never mentioned this until now, so she needed to borrow mine. I immediately said no. I've learned my lesson about lending her things. She borrowed my iPad last year and returned it with a cracked screen, claiming it was already like that. It definitely wasn't. But then she started crying, like the full waterworks. Talking about how she's trying so hard to turn her life around, and how she's been applying for jobs every day, and how this interview could be her big break, and how I was the only person she could turn to, etc., etc. I was actually planning to visit my friend from college that weekend, but I'd been fighting this annoying cold all week and decided to cancel my plans to rest. Side note, I've been saving for a down payment on a condo, have about $15 saved so far. Just mentioning, BC, it becomes relevant later. Anyway, here's basically how the convo went down. I told her no at first, reminding her of the iPad incident and other times she'd been irresponsible. She starts crying harder, saying this is different, this is her future. I point out that she's borrowed things before and either damaged them or returned them super late. She promises this time is different, and she's really turning her life around. Heard that before. I'm feeling guilty at this point, which I know is what she wanted, and since I wasn't using my car this weekend anyway, I reluctantly agree, but made her promise to have it back by Sunday evening at the latest, because I need it for my early shift Monday morning. She hugs me super enthusiastically and swears she'll be careful with it. I watch from my window as she drives away, and I already had this bad feeling. I texted her right after she left to remind her that the full insurance policy info was in the glove compartment just in case. She just sent back a emoji. That was it. So I spent the weekend basically just resting and binging this new show on Netflix. Gina texted me Friday evening just saying, interview went great, but then, nothing. I texted her Saturday afternoon asking how things were going. No response. Sent another text Saturday night, nothing. Sunday morning called her, straight to voicemail. Sunday afternoon, called again, voicemail. Sunday evening comes, and guess what? No Gina, no car. By Sunday night, I'm getting seriously worried and annoyed. I keep calling her, and it keeps going straight to voicemail. I'm starting to think something happened to her, not just my car. Monday morning comes, and I have to be at work at 7 a.m. Still no car, still no sister. I'm freaking out at this point. I had to call an Uber to get to work, which cost me $30 one way, and would be another $30 to get home. And my supervisor was annoyed that I was 15 minutes late, which never happens because I'm always super punctual. So I'm at work, stressed out of my mind, when around noon I get a call from a number I don't recognize. I answer thinking maybe it's Gina calling from someone else's phone. Nope, it's my insurance company. The conversation went something like this. Hello, is this Heather last name? Yes, this is she. I'm calling about the accident you were involved in this weekend. We've received the initial claim and just need to confirm some details. I was like, excuse me, what accident? The guy proceeds to tell me that according to the claim, I was driving my car when it went off the road and hit a tree. Apparently the car is totaled. And get this, my sister Gina was supposedly a passenger in the vehicle and had already given statements to both the police and insurance company confirming this story. I felt really sick. I wasn't in any accident. I wasn't even in the same city as my car all weekend. I was still trying to process this when my phone buzzed with a text. From Gina, finally, something happened to your car. I'll explain later. Please go along with what I told the insurance company. I'm begging you. I don't even know what to do. This is insurance fraud, right? My car is totaled, and apparently there's a police report saying I was driving. I've worked so hard for everything I have, and my sister is trying to drag me into her mess. Again, edit. A lot of people are asking if I told the insurance company the truth right away. No, I was so shocked, I just told them I needed to review the details and would call them back. I was literally shaking and couldn't think straight. Edit 2. Some people are asking about Gina's driving record. Yes, she already has a DUI from the incident with my dad's truck. Her insurance rates are probably insanely high already, which I'm guessing is why she's trying to put this on me. Edit 3. For those asking about my parents, no, I haven't called them yet. I'm afraid they'll just pressure me to go along with Gina's lie to keep her out of trouble, like they always do. But I'll probably have to talk to them soon. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my post yesterday, and honestly, I'm still kind of in shock about this whole situation. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented with advice. I read every single comment, even though I couldn't respond to all of them. After I got that text from Gina, something happened to your car. I'll explain later. Please go along with what I told the insurance company. I'm begging you. I immediately tried calling her back, but surprise, surprise, straight to voicemail again. So I ended up calling my parents, thinking maybe they knew what was going on. Turns out they already knew. Like, the whole thing. And guess what their main concern was? Not that my car was totaled. Not that I might get in trouble for insurance fraud. Nope. They were worried about Gina potentially facing legal consequences. I swear sometimes I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone with my family. My mom told me I needed to think about my sister because she's going through a difficult time and this could set her back. My dad told me it's just a car and family comes first. I mean, it's my car that I saved for years to buy. But yeah, sure, let's worry about poor Gina. This is how it's always been, by the way. When we were teenagers, Gina stole $200 from our grandmother's purse to buy concert tickets, and somehow my parents blamed me for not watching her closely enough. I was 16. It wasn't my job to babysit my 14-year-old sister. Anyway, I finally got hold of Gina Monday evening. When I asked what happened to my car and why insurance thinks I was driving, she admitted she was sorry, but things got out of hand. Turns out, there wasn't actually a job interview. She went to Sunshine Music Festival with friends. She told me she had drinks at the festival and was worried about getting another DUI if they found out she was driving. She thought, since I have a clean record and a good job, it wouldn't impact me as much, and my insurance would cover it. When I told her I was going to tell the insurance company the truth, she got angry and said I would do that to my own sister. She said family protects family no matter what, and that our parents agree with her. I was shaking when I hung up. My roommate Kay saw me freaking out and told me I needed to contact insurance right away and tell the truth. She reminded me about my cousin Adam, who got caught up in some insurance thing years ago and ended up with fraud on his record. He had trouble getting hired for like 3 years afterward. My parents called again later that night and spent like 30 minutes trying to convince me to go along with Gina's story, just this once. They kept saying they would make sure Gina learns her lesson this time, which is exactly what they've said every other time she's messed up. And then they had the nerve to bring up my grandmother, who was recently diagnosed with early-stage dementia, saying, "Do you really want to add family drama to what grandma's going through? Like, are you kidding me? Using grandma's illness to manipulate me." I spent Tuesday and Wednesday taking Ubers to and from work, $30 each way, and stressing about how I'm going to afford a new car. I have about $15 saved, but that was supposed to be for a down payment on a condo, not replacing a car that my sister destroyed. Gina has been sending me these manipulative texts for the past 2 days, saying things like, I should just say I swerved to avoid a deer, that I can afford another car with my stable job while she's struggling, and asking what was she supposed to do after drinking. Like, is she serious? I can't even with her right now. People at work have noticed something's wrong. My coworker Jen asked if I was having boyfriend troubles, and I didn't even bother correcting her because explaining the real situation is just too exhausting. But what really pushed me over the edge was seeing Gina's Instagram stories yesterday. She was at some club with her friends, having the time of her life, the night after totaling my car. Not a care in the world. I went to the tow yard yesterday afternoon to see the car for myself. The guy working there gave me this look of pity when I said it was my car. It's way worse than Gina described. The entire front end is completely crushed. The mechanic said the damage pattern suggests she was going at a pretty high speed when she hit the tree, not the minor fender bender she initially claimed. Then today, I got a letter from the insurance company saying they're investigating the claim due to inconsistencies in the accident report and that coverage might be denied pending investigation. So now I might not even get the insurance money for the car. I spent all of last night just lying awake, trying to figure out what to do. My parents keep calling and texting, pressuring me to go along with Gina's story. Gina keeps switching between apologizing and guilt-tripping me. Kay is adamant that I need to tell the truth. So, I did it. About an hour ago, I forwarded the entire text conversation with Gina to the insurance investigator handling my claim. All of it, where she admits she was driving, where she admits she'd been drinking, where she asks me to lie. Everything. I included a statement clarifying that I was not driving the car during the accident and had no knowledge of it until contacted by the insurance company. I hit send and immediately turned off my phone. I just can't deal with the fallout right now. I know I did the right thing, but why do I still feel so awful? I hate that my sister put me in this position. Now for the second update. So it's been about 2 weeks since my last post, and basically everything has happened since then. After I sent those texts to the insurance investigator, showing that Gina admitted she was driving drunk and wanted me to lie, I completely turned off my phone because I just couldn't deal with the fallout. I was simultaneously relieved and terrified. I knew I did the right thing legally, but I also felt this awful guilt about betraying my sister. It's messed up that I felt guilty when she was the one who put me in this position. But that's what happens with family, I guess. I turned my phone back on the next morning to find 3 voicemails from Joshua, the insurance investigator, asking me to call him back as soon as possible to give an official statement. I also had like 15 missed calls from my parents and Gina, but I decided to deal with the insurance stuff first. So I called Joshua back. Honestly, I was shaking the whole time. He thanked me for my honesty and explained they would be doing a thorough investigation, including interviewing witnesses from the accident scene. He confirmed what I already suspected. Filing a false insurance claim is considered fraud and could have serious consequences. He didn't specifically say, your sister is in deep shit, but the implication was pretty clear. I went to work that day feeling guilty and relieved at the same time. Like, I knew I did the right thing, but I still felt terrible. I ignored several calls from my parents throughout my shift. Thank God for the silence unknown callers feature on my phone, but finally called them back after work. That was a mistake. I had to listen to them berate me for 45 minutes about betraying Gina. My dad, Curtis, actually suggested I call the insurance company to retract my statement. I tried explaining that I couldn't risk my own financial and legal standing for Gina's mistake, but they weren't hearing it. My dad told me I needed to call them back and say I was confused. I explained I couldn't lie to the insurance company because that would be fraud. He insisted it's not fraud if you're helping family, which isn't how the law works at all. My mom said they raised me to stand by my sister no matter what, and I reminded them they also raised me to be honest. When I brought up my future, my record, and my car that I saved years to buy, my mom just said I was being dramatic, and it's just a car. Just a car that I spent $17,000 on and need to get to work every day. But whatever, I guess. I held firm despite all their pressure, which honestly took everything I had. I've never been good at standing up to my parents, especially when they tag-team me like that. The next 3 days were actually pretty quiet. Gina sent a few texts asking if I'd heard anything from the insurance company, which I chose not to answer. I was still so angry at her, not just for crashing my car, but for trying to drag me into her mess and then making me the bad guy when I wouldn't go along with it. Then on Friday, so 4 days after sending the evidence, I got a call from Joshua informing me that the claim would now be processed correctly, with Gina listed as the driver, and that my car would be covered under the policy. I was actually shopping for groceries when I got the call, and I felt so relieved I had to sit down in the store's little cafe area. That night, I went to bed feeling much better. I thought maybe the worst was over. I was so wrong. At exactly 6:23 a.m., I remember looking at my phone in disbelief. I was awakened by my phone buzzing non-stop on my nightstand. I checked and had 30-plus missed calls from Gina, my parents, and even some extended family members, including an aunt I literally haven't spoken to in 3 years. While I was scrolling through all the notifications, Gina called again. I hesitantly answered. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. When she finally calmed down enough to speak, she told me that police officers had just left her apartment after serving her with papers. She'd been charged with insurance fraud and filing a false police report. She kept switching between begging me for help and blaming me for ruining her life. I tried to explain that this was the result of her actions. She crashed the car, she filed the false report, she tried to commit fraud, but she wasn't hearing it. Then my mother Brenda got on the phone. Apparently they were all at Gina's apartment and demanded that I fix this right now. I told her I couldn't and wouldn't interfere with the legal process. She started saying how I always had it out for Gina and how I was enjoying seeing her suffer, which is absolutely not true. I was devastated about the whole situation. I hung up and immediately got more calls, which I silenced. I got dressed and literally fled my apartment because I was worried they might show up. I spent the day at Kay's boyfriend's apartment. Kay came too, and they helped me draft responses to the barrage of accusatory messages I was getting from family members. My cousin Tara actually texted me, "How could you do this to your own blood? Like I was the one who committed a crime." The only reasonable family member was my cousin Leon, male, 33, who works as a paralegal. He called to give me some perspective, explaining that Gina would likely be offered a plea deal since this was her first fraud offense, though her previous DUI wouldn't help her case. He was actually understanding about my position and said he would have done the same thing. Over the next week, as the reality of the situation sank in, my parents' anger gradually shifted from me to Gina, especially after they talked to a lawyer who explained just how serious insurance fraud charges can be. I think that was the first time they really understood how serious what Gina tried to do was. Gina was ultimately offered a plea deal requiring her to pay restitution, perform 100 hours of community service, and serve 1 year of probation. She avoided jail time, which is honestly a relief. I never wanted her to go to jail. I just didn't want to be dragged down with her. The insurance payout allowed me to purchase another used car, a 2016 Toyota Corolla. It's not as nice as my Civic was, but it's reliable and gets me to work. I had to dip into my condo savings, though, which means my timeline for buying my own place is pushed back again. Thanks, Gina. About 2 weeks after everything happened, I got an unexpected call from my dad. He actually apologized for pressuring me to go along with the fraud. He admitted they had been enabling Gina's behavior for years and that maybe this was the wake-up call she needed. It was weird. My dad has apologized to me maybe 3 times in my entire life. I accepted his apology, but our relationship is still strained. I don't know if I can just forgive and forget after the things he and Mom said to me. As for Gina, she eventually sent me a text that was basically half apology, half accusation. She acknowledged she shouldn't have crashed my car, but still blamed me for choosing an insurance company over family. I haven't responded yet. I don't know what to say. I hope my relationship with my sister can be repaired someday, but for now, I'm focusing on rebuilding my life and my savings, and I've made it abundantly clear to everyone in my life that I won't be lending my car to anyone ever again.